Imagine going out on a second date with somebody and realising they were an absolute psycho, but you weren't allowed to break up with them for 4 years. You just had to put up with them as they ruined your life. Recall elections enabled you to break up with bad politicians who are obviously not right for you. In only 2 years, we transformed from one of the most free and prosperous nations in the world into a place where you can't leave your home without express permission, a mask and a tracking device on your phone. The Liberal Democrats will give you a way out. I'm John Ruddick and I'm the New South Wales Senate candidate for the Liberal Democrats. In this video, I want to talk about the second policy in our party's Freedom Manifesto, which we put under the heading Recall Elections. The response to COVID has demonstrated just how unaccountable governments can become between elections. What we're proposing is three things. Firstly, citizens must have the right to recall power-mad politicians. If Scott Morrison were to block you from travelling or returning from overseas, you could get a petition signed by a certain threshold of people, trigger a by-election or a full general election for the entire government if we get sufficient signatures. The second thing we want to do is enable the citizens' veto on any legislation. No longer will citizens have to camp in front of Parliament House day and night or to protest with no guarantee that it will make any difference. Citizens should be able to veto legislation. Legislation does infringe our freedom. Obviously, some legislation is good, but we want to give the citizens the power to trigger a referendum to remove legislation. And lastly, this policy will make voting voluntary. Some people are disinterested in politics. Some people are apathetic. And some people who are interested in politics say, I don't like any of them at this election and I want to sit home. We've got to give people that freedom. What happens at the moment when we're all forced to vote, even the people that don't want to vote, it means that our politicians, knowing that their bases are going to vote, only focus on the apathetic middle. We need politicians that are going to appeal to their base, convince their base that they've got the right vision, and convince the middle. That is the democratic ideal. Human history tells us that democracy is a good thing, but we need to keep working on our democracy. We need to keep refining it because politicians and government will always find a way to take away our liberties. These three policies that the Liberal Democrats are fighting for at the next federal elections, recall elections, citizens' veto over legislation and voluntary voting, these are three tangible steps, important steps that will really put power back in the hands of the people. Please read about it further in the Liberal Democrats' Freedom Manifesto. Thank you.
Authorised by John Humphries for the Liberal Democratic Party, Mount Waverley, Victoria.